Time and Temperature is sponsored by Raymore and Flanagan. Find it, feel it, furnish it.
Right now on Face the State, opponents of tolls descend on the state capitol to demand lawmakers kill the idea of resurrecting tolls in Connecticut. Right now, a special live Face the State with the man who will ultimately decide whether we get tolls, Governor Ned Lamont, and what lawmakers will do starting tomorrow about them. State Senators Kathy Austin and Paul Formica are with us. Plus, the future of the XL Center and the UConn Huskies. UConn coach Dan Hurley is with us for an exclusive interview. Should college basketball players be paid? We'll ask him. It is all straight ahead on this special live edition of Face the State, Sunday, May 19th, 2019.
From Eyewitness News, Connecticut's most watched local political program, this is Face the State.
Good morning, it's 8:30. I'm Dennis House. Thanks for joining us for Face the State. This is a big week in Connecticut history. Lawmakers could vote on whether to return tolls to Connecticut. They've been gone since the late 1980s. We'll talk with Governor Lamont in just a moment, but first we are joined by the Deputy President of the State Senate, Kathy Austin, a Democrat, and Deputy Senate Leader for the Republicans, Paul Formica. And Senators, thanks for being with us here today.
Thank you for having us.
And I'll begin with you, Senator Austin. The rally yesterday drew about 2,000 people, much less than some had expected. What does that tell you? Is the attitude of people toward tolls changing?
I do think the attitude towards tolls has always been that we should get more people from out of state paying for our roads, and that's exactly what the tolls do. 40% of the drivers on our road are from out of state, and we right now, when we drive in other states, are paying for that state's infrastructure. Many people come up to me and say, I'm in favor of tolls. I want out-of-state drivers to pay for them, and I think that that's what's being told to the people directly.
Senator Formica, that crowd yesterday was disappointing to many people. Is the effort to stop tolls losing steam, do you think, or where's the outrage?
Actually, I think the opposite is the effect, because you have the first sunny day that we've had this spring, and you still have 2,000 people show up. After 100,000 people sign a petition, saying they're against tolls. So
but there were 40,000 at the income tax rally in 1991, and some of the other rallies have been more attended.
Yeah. Well, that may be the fact, but we have, a lousy spring and a first sunny day. But I think that people are against tolls, and I think, the talk about the 20, 30, 40% of out-of-state people that pay the tolls forgets the 60 or 70% of us that will pay it, and we're paying in many other ways as well.
And Senator Austin, the big question I'm getting from a lot of people is, what will we pay, where will the tolls go, and how many will there be?
Sure, and I just need to comment on my colleagues' inaccurate statements. So 40% of the people would pay tolls, not 20 or 30, but 40%. The Republican plan would have us pay $17 billion. In the modified plan that they just had, we had $32 billion before. That means, and they would fix 5 bridges out of the 300 bridges that need to be fixed. So we have 300 bridges that need to be fixed, and they would pay for 5 of them. And we will be paying until 2071 on those 5 bridges. It's about time that we told people the honest truth on where they would be. And in regards to your question on where would the tolls be, they would be on 91, 95, 84, and 15. About 50. That number is still in flux. I'd like to see it be about 10 less than that on those 4 major highways. And we're looking at ways to both provide a tax break for Connecticut residents, and we'd like to see the gas tax go down a few cents.
And briefly, how much per mile?
I think it's, I don't have that dollar amount, quite frankly, off the top of my head, because it's going to depend on how many toll gantries there are.
So, Senator, the Republican plan, how would you pay for bridge repairs and road infrastructure improvements and things like that?
Well, listen,
without tolls.
We know that if we institute tolls in this state, no bridges get fixed for another 5 years. If tolls get started in 5 years.
Because the program wouldn't kick in until 2023.
Wouldn't go. The money that has been taken away from the Special Transportation Fund will devastate that fund over the next few years. So the plan that we have on the table, which is $375 million in borrowing to move it forward, go down to the feds, find out what we need to get from the feds to offset the capital infrastructure. Let's get a plan from DOT. The senator and I, both leaders of small towns, know that you have to have a capital improvement plan in order to get grant money from the state, yet the DOT doesn't identify where we are. So we said, yeah, let's start with 5. Let's take the worst, and let's get those fixed right away, because we know that infrastructure, roads and bridges are the most important thing we can do, but it's time for action.
Senator, what do you say to the people in your district who believe they're overtaxed, who believe that Connecticut perhaps isn't moving in the right direction, and now you're asking them to pay more?
Well, both plans, the Republican plan actually is 3 times as expensive as a tolling plan. That's another fact. So that's from the Office of Fiscal Analysis. And to my colleague, when he talked a little bit about only fixing 5, now I'm on the Transportation Committee, and the Department of Transportation has presented a plan each and every time they've come before the legislature, and we have instituted study after study after study. My residents are tired of paying for studies. It's time for action. We have 300 bridges that need to be repaired. We need to work on 300, not 5.
Senator Formica, I'll give you the last 30 seconds to rebut.
Well, listen, we've seen the economic decline in the state of Connecticut over the last few years. We can't continue to tax. We have increasing contracts that for the labor in the state of Connecticut, it's cost an additional $75 million. We have higher taxes. Now we're going to ask for tolls. We're not saying just do 5 bridges. We're saying let's start. Let's do the shovel-ready stuff. Let's get them underway, and let's stop the people of the state of Connecticut from getting under pressure.
Senator Kathy Ostin, Senator Paul Formica, we thank you.
Thank you very much.
Will we have a vote this week, yes or no?
I think we'll have a vote this week.
This week, okay. In a moment, Governor Lamont will join us to explain his toll proposal, and we welcome you to watch past editions of Face the State right now on the WFSB app or on our YouTube channel.